Hello beer tubers and welcome to another beer review with me, Peter, the master of hobbits. Today cracking some barley wine because it's November and because I like to drink barley wine. I actually like to drink barley wine whenever, all times of the year. But right now in November, the Danish beer blogging group called beerbloggers.dk have a hashtag for November called hashtag BarleyWember. So BarleyWember, they're dedicating the month of November to a month of drinking barley wines because, it's just before all the Christmas shenanigans, the Christmas beers, and it's, one of the darker, colder months, a month that is good for this beer style. So, on a load of Danish, beer accounts online and blogs and whatnot, people are drinking barley wine, and I thought I'd join. I joined last year, but we've got quite a lot of barley wine. I won't be drinking all of what I have, but we'll be cracking quite a few of the bottles, I think, throughout the month of November and checking out some barley wine because 'tis the season for these kind of beers. So we're checking out some beer now from Sweden, some barley wine from Sweden that I got from Johan in Sweden. Johan in Gothenburg, thanks a ton, man. He sent me so much barley wine. I think most of the barley wine I have is actually Swedish. So we're starting with some Swedish stuff. And we also have some hype stuff, of course, which we'll dive into too. But those are for sure meant for sharing and not drinking on my own. But this one is from Nerdbrewing, one of my favorite Swedish breweries. And this is from their barrel series in which they do barrel-aged beer. Mainly, so far, I think, stouts and barley wines. And this is their number 3. A barley wine aged in Heaven Hill bourbon barrels on 13.9%. And just purely barley malt. No fun ingredients or anything. No like craziness, vanilla, whatever. It's just pure barrel aged barley wine. And a darker barley wine at that. It almost looks like what some people call a black barley wine. So let's check this one out. Pours, as I said, almost a blackish color. It's just like a really, really deep dark brown. To this one, it could look like it's been, boiled for a very extended amount of time to get like a really nice caramelized flavor and lots of Maillard effect because it has that like really dark color. I think on camera it almost looks like a stout. A very nice, well, not crazy fluffy, but a very nice substantial tan, slightly beige head. I already did the number 1 and 2 in this series of barrel-aged beers and they were pretty good, so I'm looking forward to this one. Let's check it out. Oh man, really vanilla heavy. Loads of vanilla. Very caramelly, very rich, very toffee-like. It smells really good. To be honest, it's reminding me of Paragon from Levik, just with more substantial malt character and less like really crazy bourbon flavor. I've also heard actually the new batch they did they changed all their barrel aged stuff. I think almost of it now to be called the Rack House series. And I've got a couple of those Rack House beers to review that I got from Long actually in Norway. But it reminds me a bit of Paragon, just more woody and more oomphy base beer like. But that was also an oomphy base, but just like not as crazy fudgy bourbon. But it's a huge compliment because the last batch of that beer and also the previous ones were really good, like fantastic barley wines. But yeah, definitely like English in style. It's super fudgy, caramel, toffee. There's hints of like it's very American English. Like there's not a big yeast ester or anything like American English. That sounds stupid, but an American interpretation of English barley wine because some of the really classic ones have some like dark fruity marmalade esters. There's nothing of that in here. Like it's all just crazy intense malts. You also get that in some of the classic samples, but like Thomas Hardy for example. But it smells awesome. There's a sweet honey vibe, almost like creme brulee, like vanilla caramel tones. Deep, rich woodiness, like really toasty woodiness, and also like some really hefty umami malt character, like really caramelly, but there's definitely like umami-ness to it as well, like a slight savoriness. It smells like a fantastic barley wine. Let's give it a taste, guys. Cheers, and thanks to Johan for the beer. Oh, that is crazy drinkable for an almost 13 or 14% beer. This might be my favorite of Hannes, aka Nerdbrewing's barrel aged beer so far. Fuck, that's good. So again, this whole Barley Wimper thing is putting a spotlight on the barley wine style, which is like a fairly old school style, but one that's been done a lot by newer breweries and a style that's like really good for barrel aging. And I think most of this barley wines actually have to review, besides a couple, are barrel aged, or I just have in the cellar. But it's on almost not completely for. There's still a lot of people doing it, but it's not as like crazy intense. I think the Barley Wember is awesome because it's like spreading awareness of a really complex, awesome, old school, really beery style. Like it tastes so much like it's not like with barley wine. It's just like straight great base beer and barrel that makes them really great. It's so rare you see barley wines with adjuncts besides maybe vanilla or something like that, because often it doesn't work as well. You need to have like a crazy good base beer and some really good barrels and just like have those things work together if you want to do it barrel aged at least, or just if it's not barrel aged, just a crazy good base. And it's just a really like pure nice expression of like really oomphy big malty flavor. Like it's really old money in that sense because it's so heavy on malt character, which is awesome. Like it's got so much dense malt character, this beer, like really sweet, chewy, fudgy, caramelly maltiness. And there's like, I love that cherry woodiness on this. I think you could definitely compare this to something like Paragon, but just more of a deep umami character and more woodiness and less like crazy fudgy bourbon. Like there's definitely a nice bourbon flavor to it, but I think the big thing is like a vanilla thing, and that could also be the wood. But this encompasses that kind of old money profile, like just that big, chewy, bold malt. Like again, it's almost like a creme brulee type thing because there's like that caramelized sugar top kind of a creme brulee, that like caramelized sugar thing, and then like there's a vanilla. You could almost stretch the imagination to think custard because there's so much vanilla in this, and it tastes like pretty much like pure barrel vanilla and quite good mouthfeel. It's very like it's fluffy. It's not like thick or anything. Like it doesn't need to be necessarily in a barley wine. It's just rich. It's not the most rich, but it's nice and fluffy, fairly rich. Finish is quite dry. It has a very nice drying aftertaste from the barrels, of course, from the wood. I love that it has that umami vibe. I don't know if I want to say soy sauce or something, like maybe oyster sauce or something. It's just super light. And that could be from an extended boil or something like that, just that gives that umami and Maillard effect. Because there's a creme brulee top and everything. It's just like all about these like really dark, dense flavors and like really, really chewy, fresh kind of caramel malt flavor to it as well. But no trace of like a oxidized dark fruity flavor or anything really. There might be the slightest hint of generic dark fruit, but it's super light and there's no like jammy fruitiness or anything for me really. It's just like big vibes with like caramel malty flavors and all these type of different things. And the barrel, and it's also not too sweet. It's super well balanced between sweetness, dryness, barrel, and then it has a hefty enough base to stand up to the barrels, which is really nice. Like that's one of the things you sometimes get with some barrel aged beers. Like the base beer is a little too weak, so the barrel just ruins the mouthfeel and everything. This still has a fairly good mouthfeel. Really good barley wine. Like I'm thinking a 95. This is one of the better Nerdbrewing beers I've had. And yeah, possibly my favorite of the entire series of barrel aged beers so far. This is fucking great. Like if you love really nice intense barrel aged beers, there's something for you. Again, thinking European beers, something like Paragon. Thinking American beer, it could be similar to some vintages actually of the anniversary barley wines, brew 2, 3, 4K, whatever, 5K from Fremont, because it has a similar like a profile of like all that caramel fudge things. So does Paragon. Paragon is just a much more crazy fudgy bourbon like than this. But yeah, I love all the layers in this. This is really good. So if you haven't gotten a chance to try Nerdbrewing's Barrel Series number 3 already, you need to, because this is so dope. And it's really awesome that you sent this one over, Johan. This is just world-class, awesome barley wine. Yeah, man. It's going to be fun to try the other beers in this series. He got the other beers for me as well, Johan. It's so awesome. Thanks a ton, dude. he's shipped me so many awesome Swedish beers over the years. I even have like a set of Närke Kacken to review at the moment. Like I think it was, not Turbo. Some Swedish oak kind of variant, and then also a new vintage of bourbon, which we'll get to eventually, and loads of other stuff. Like, Joe has just provided me with so many crazy, just awesome Swedish beer over the years. So thanks a ton for that, dude. And yeah, good first start to Barley Wember. We'll be trying some more barley wine throughout this month, so stay tuned for that. And if you guys had a chance to try this one, let me know what you thought of it. As always, remember to comment, subscribe, check out the Facebook fan page and Twitter and Instagram. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Ring the bell for future notifications about videos. And I'm going to say cheers. And see you guys in another beer review.